Welcome friends, it's the Yoders and I'm Marlene. This week I am here for a request I received to see my pantry items, some food storage, etc. So I'm going to go ahead and actually share a little bit of some of the winter canning I've been doing, and then I'll do my best to give you a tour of what my pantry is looking like. That is where I store my canned goods. The only problem is it's basically a walk-in and back out, so I'm not quite sure how I'll be able to best share that. I might give you a little bit of a view and then I'll just talk to the camera, bring stuff out to the doorway. So anyway, to get started, the last couple of weeks I've been doing some of the lighter types of canning that can be done later in the year. Obviously this is February here in Ohio, and definitely not canning season. Most of that was done last fall or late summer. But one thing I did want to do was use up my remaining potatoes from last year's harvest. By this time they're still looking okay, or they were looking okay. I've used them up now. But they were just starting to sprout a little bit, and I thought, why not, while they're still looking great, they're nice and firm, I'm just gonna chop them up and put them into jars along with, I still had carrots from the garden from last year, and then I just bought some celery. But it's a very easy way to have some prepared potatoes, carrots, and celery for when you're making soup or a last minute casserole recipe that I like. So I'm very excited to have this on hand again. I've been out of canned potatoes for a long time. I do have some just plain potatoes. If you are looking to do this for yourself, whether it's just plain potatoes or with the carrots and the celery in it, I just put my raw veggies and potatoes in here, shredded or diced, and I fill it with water and add, I think I added 1 teaspoon of salt to a quart jar and a half teaspoon of salt to a pint jar. Excuse me. I had run outside and I'm still breathless. Takes a while to get my wind back. But anyway, something that is new for me is canning chicken. I don't have any canned meat in my pantry up until now anyway, and so I just bought some chicken thighs that were on sale and put them into jars. Again, I filled them with water, added a teaspoon of salt, and that's it. I did cold pack these in boiling water for 3 hours, I believe. I do not know what the equivalent is for pressure canning, as I have no experience with that. And by the way, these, I think I did like 2.5 hours. I think 2 to 2.5 is okay. And then the last 2 items are very easy as well. As you'll see in my Azure standard order that I placed, and I'll have the Azure standard and the Costco order at the end. I did a little bit of food stock up and I thought I would attach that to this video. Is I buy my dried organic beans in like bags of, is it 5 pounds, something like that, and then to can them I just soak them for 24 hours, cover them completely in water, and then for a quart jar I'll do, I think it's 3 cups of beans. And they're basically kind of like dried beans at that point. I obviously drained them, but they have absorbed some water, so they will have, that way they don't absorb as much of the water when they're being canned. Anyway, that's also just filling water to the neck and adding 1 teaspoon of salt, maybe 2, depending on how salty you want it. And then these also get cold packed for 3 hours, I believe. And I absolutely love having these on hand. I use so many of these for my bean cakes or bean cupcakes, as well as, take for example, this weekend at church we're doing a Chipotle meal, so I have beans on hand for that. Or I love doing like a bean and corn and fresh salsa type dip, sometimes with tortilla chips, or just mashing these up with some garlic and cumin and serving it over rice. So many ways to use these up, so it is definitely a staple in my pantry. And then my last one is pineapples. This is not necessarily, unless you can get a bunch on sale, it's not necessarily a big saver. It's just that I like to have the convenience of having them on hand. And you could totally freeze them if you wanted to, but I usually can mine that way if I'm doing smoothies, or for example, if there's desserts that I want crushed pineapples, I'll just dump this in the blender and blend it all up. Again, it is just fresh pineapples cut up, filled with water. I don't add anything, obviously no salt, no sugar. And then I cold pack these for, I think I did 12 minutes for these. I know some people do 10, some do 15, but generally my spot is 12 minutes for fruit if you're giving them a hot water bath. Okay, that basically wraps up what the canning I've been doing. I've been wanting to get this out of the way before I get into full nesting mode. So now that this is done, I'm gonna go to the pantry and just give you a little bit of an overview of what we've got in there if you're just wondering, curious, or if you're looking for some new things to try this summer. So let's take a look. Okay, my pantry is located right off the kitchen back there. And yes, I do have cookies that have cooled down and waiting to be frosted. Let's head in here and take a look. This is what my pantry is looking like. It is filled to the gills, so to speak. Right here is a view of the shelves, about the best I can do. And then I will show you what these jars are. I'm guessing you probably can't see very plainly what's going on here. So, all the way down to the bottom. Okay, I think I can fit in here yet. Anyway, starting at the top, this is not necessarily a canned item, but I love filling all of my wide mouth jars with freshly popped popcorn. If I put the lid on tightly, it keeps it fresh and crisp, and it tastes delicious. I don't tend to buy chips for my family aside from like tortilla chips for dipping. And so this is something that keeps for weeks, and no, they're not sealed, but it is still a very vital part of my pantry. Here I've got some pumpkin pureed, and if you're wondering on how to make that, I do actually have a video from last fall. I think it's called Turning Fall Decor into Food to Store, where I do show how I make my pumpkin puree. We've got jam and jelly. I don't know that that needs an explanation. I do love having my own barbecue sauce on hand, but no, this is not totally made from scratch, meaning that it is not made from tomatoes from my garden. Yes, dear. Alright, my little man is now indoors situated with a hot cup of hot chocolate. And so I'm ready to finish my explanation on the barbecue sauce. Okay, so what I normally do is, I don't actually like the homemade barbecue sauce. I know that sounds odd, or at least I haven't learned how to make a good kind. I think I have had some though from other people that did taste delicious. So I just buy a big amount of store-bought ketchup without the high fructose corn syrup. That's my reason for making my own, is I still want to be able to use a lot of barbecue sauce without the expense of paying for the healthy kinds, but not have to consume all that high fructose corn syrup. So I buy a clean kind of ketchup, and then I have a recipe that I use for adding my own ingredients, so like molasses and honey and all sorts of spices and seasonings. Anyway, so I do a big batch of that, and then I just can it into pint jars. So it is kind of homemade, kind of not. Here we've got some red beets and pickles. Don't ask me for pickle canning tips. I am still trying to figure that one out, so no comment. But I love my red beets, and I'm hoping to do a whole lot more this year. Right, so I told you I love red beets. What I think I love even more is my salsa. I absolutely love that. Hopefully this summer I can do a tutorial on a very easy, delicious way to do your own salsa. And then right here we've got some taco soup. Sometimes I'll do chili soup for those evenings where you got wound up in the day's work and you need supper ASAP. Alright, we've got two different kinds of relish here. This is a green tomato and pepper relish, I believe. This is actually for eating with cream cheese and crackers, so it's an easy thing if you're doing like a holiday snack or just a snack with friends. And then this is my sandwich spread relish. I actually make it with zucchini instead of pickles or cucumbers. I don't think I can taste the difference. But I've got grape pie filling, and that is actually the only pie filling I canned last year. I would love to have some raspberry filling on hand as well, so hopefully this summer or maybe even blueberry would be great. And then of course I did show you the pineapples. I showed you the chicken, so I'm moving on to the beans. The black beans you've already seen, and then the pinto beans. I also can these pinto beans and sometimes the black beans in smaller containers to where it's about the amount of a regular store-bought jar or can. That way if a recipe calls for that amount, I have the right amount as well. And in the bean family, this is a staple in our house. I don't eat a lot of corn. In fact, I hardly eat any. My men do eat some, which I freeze that. So this is my main vegetable that I can, and let's just say years that I've been out, I definitely miss them. Alright, I promise we're getting close to done. I don't know if this is boring or interesting to you, but this is pizza sauce. I definitely prefer the homemade over the store-bought just for the taste. It's not as strong on the tomatoey side of things, not quite as acidic either, I don't think. Whenever I see this pizza sauce, I'm reminded of my mom because she had just found out I'm pregnant this past fall, and it was late summer, early fall. And so she graciously offered to do some canning for me, and this is the result. Isn't it funny how when somebody does something for you, you probably think of them a lot more than they do you, just because of every time I see these, I'm reminded. And then the applesauce. I have a lot of these. Declan loves his applesauce. Sometimes I'll just put it in pouches to go, easy for traveling or a day on the road. Or Joel and I like it with casseroles as well, so definitely a staple. Okay, last two. Grape juice. This is concentrate, so I obviously dilute it. We have lots and lots of this. I think I did, well, grape juice, pie filling, and jelly combined. I think I had like 15 gallons of concentrate last fall, so we have definitely been blessed with lots of this, and I love having it on hand. And then last but not least is the tomato juice. So obviously generally used in soups. I don't do a whole lot of tomatoey stuff, so normally my juice will be used for soup. Okay, thank you so much, friends, for dropping by. I hope this has given you a little bit of an idea, and by the way, I do have one more section that I'll add onto this video of the Costco and the Azure Standard haul, like I had told you. So enjoy. For my Azure Standard haul and my Costco haul, I've started ordering my spices from them in bulk, and do I love it. I notice I don't need to use as many or as much of an ingredient, since they, especially the organic ones, I'm not sure, is this one just non-GMO? I'm not exactly sure, but they are strong. So figure that in, especially if you're doing ginger, onion, or garlic from them. It definitely does not take as much. And I just like the convenience of having a stash. Here we've got some flax meal, or a ground flax seed. I use this in my cereal and also protein balls. Right here is the beef gelatin. I've started making finger jello again, so definitely that is needed. And then for these raisins, and I have about 3 different kinds of nuts. There's cashews, almonds, and then also pecans. I love ordering these in bulk and just putting my own mixture together. These are raw, and I know they're clean. Some of them are probably organic. Actually, most I think are. And sometimes I'll add pumpkin seeds, or let me see what else, sunflower seeds. Joel loves taking those along for days on the truck sometimes. And another thing that I really love doing with the slivered or the sliced almonds and some pecan pieces is toasting them for salads. Absolutely delicious. Over here I've got 2 of these, looks like they're 5-pound bags of, I've got black beans, and then I've also got pinto beans. I use these for canning. I had showed you earlier the pinto beans that I have been canning. I also did some black beans. Yeah, I'll just take a whole bag like this, soak them, and can them. So it's a nice thing to have on hand. And then my last thing from Azure Standard are these sprouted brown Rice Crisps. I'm thinking of using them as an alternative for Rice Krispies. I don't use them in cereal necessarily, but I love the crunch it adds to the protein balls, and I don't know, I hardly ever make the regular granola bars where you use Rice Krispies. But maybe if I have these, I might try it. I'm not quite sure. I'd like to find a healthy marshmallow alternative. I have not ever tried making those, so we'll see. And I think I accidentally ordered 2. I only wanted 1, but I'm sure we'll use it. Okay, and then my main reason for ordering from Costco, by the way, this is Costco.com, so it's only online. They don't have all of their products available there, but my main thing that I ordered there is peanut butter, and no, 3 of these isn't even all of them. We've already opened a pack, so I just go through a lot of peanut butter. We love it with apples. I put it into my cereal. I put it into a lot of desserts or bars type of thing. Just a good source of protein. It's organic and it doesn't have sugar or those unhealthy oils. So it's the cheapest place I've found. And I discovered if I'm just ordering online, I don't actually need a membership. So, and they deliver, I think if you spend like up to $75, they deliver for free, or at least in our location they do. And the nearest Costco is probably, well, it could be close to an hour away, at least 45, 50 minutes, I'm not exactly sure. So they're not close, but they do deliver free. And nowadays it's not hard to spend $75 on groceries. So I love that they come delivered usually within 2 days. Anyway, something else that I stock up there is Ritzy crackers. No, I'm not super proud to be having this in my pantry, but I have not found a good cracker alternative for snacking with meat and cheese, or a big thing is soups. I make a lot of soups during the winter, and both of my men like crackers in their soup, and this is their preferred kind. For myself, just for snacking, I love these almond flour. I believe they're completely, yeah, they are certified gluten-free. And the ingredient list is very clean. I love it. Anyway, that was all for this time. And yeah, so hopefully if you are looking to stock up on some items like this in bulk, look around for an Azure pickup in your area, or try Costco.com maybe for the first time. All right, that's it.